Hi everyone, my name is Dana Brunt and I'm a sales engineer here at New Relic. I just wanted to take a couple minutes today to show you how you can monitor and optimize your digital customer experience leveraging New Relic. So first we'll share some statistics about why you should actually monitor the digital customer experience and really why it's important. First off, it's been shown that you'll lose 7% of your visitors for every second of page load time. So as fast as you can make your site, you'll want to do that. 49% of your users actually expect 2-second page load or faster, and the demands for that and expectations for that are actually becoming more aggressive, with 30% expecting 1 second and 18% expecting instantaneous page loads. Along with that, over 90% of user wait load time is actually due to client-side code running in the browser. So while it's important to monitor and optimize server-side applications, you also need to complete the cycle and monitor and optimize the client-side code running in the browser. Fortunately, New Relic allows you to do that with our browser, insights, and synthetic products within our software analytics cloud. With browser, you can monitor real user experience via a JavaScript agent that sits in your site in the head. From there, we can monitor the page load performance, any route change and interactions that the user takes. If you're leveraging a single page app JavaScript framework, we monitor that as well. And we also show you actionable information in regards to JavaScript errors, AJAX performance, user session traces, and also out of the box, we show you information about the user, where they're coming from geographically, what browsers and operating system and versions and devices that they're using. With synthetics, we allow you to programmatically ensure the uptime of your site and your environment in a controlled environment, so irregardless of actual user data. We allow you and enable you to do this through multiple monitor types, from a ping monitor, is my site up and available, to a simple browser giving you a full page load where you can review the assets and the timing of all the assets from all your third-party content providers, to a scripted browser where you can mimic users' workflow throughout your site for your critical path activities, and an API test where you can monitor the health of your API endpoints. Our monitors allow you to create these and run these monitors from geographically dispersed locations from around the globe. We also allow you with private locations to create these monitors and run them locally in your environment behind your firewall. You can also set the frequencies of these monitors to run as frequently as every minute, up to once per day or once per hour. From there, Insights is our software analytics layer, where we're automatically collecting events from all of our products, from APM, browser, synthetics, mobile, and allowing you to query this with easy-to-use Visual Data Explorer and New Relic query language. The data contained within Insights is multidimensional and multifaceted, so you can slice and dice this data on several different data points and to be consumed by many different types of users. From there, we can actually extend the data that you capture out of the box with additional data sets, including custom attributes, recording page actions, and custom events. These products all work together and allow you to have a continuous feedback loop so you can continually optimize your digital experience. With browser, you can identify performance bottlenecks that users are actually encountering on your site with real user data. In Insights, you can further analyze this data and determine whether or not you should do a test in synthetics. Once you build that test out in synthetics, you can validate and refine the results and determine if there's something that needs improvement, either at the code level or with your third-party content providers. Once you make those changes, you can validate the success of your code changes and deployments within browser and Insights and complete the feedback loop. So this allows you to have a very iterative development cycle. So let's jump right into the product and show you what I mean. So we're in browser, and we're looking at our forum, our actual user community here at New Relic. We're in our staging environment where we monitor all things New Relic. So the app that we're going to be focusing on in the next 5 to 10 minutes is in our forum, our user community. So we're looking at last 24 hours, and on the overview page, we're actually showing you the overall browser page load time. It's around 4.8 seconds. And we're breaking down that page load time into all of the layers that make up that total page load time, from the web app layer and the server side to network timing, DOM processing, and page rendering. You can also see the AppDex score, which is basically the customer experience index score, where all of the interactions are being evaluated by this threshold that you set and define within the application. Here it's set to 7 seconds, and then every interaction is then graded against that threshold to give you a customer experience or AppDex score on a 0 to 1 scale. We're also showing you the throughput by browser, page views percentage that are yielding JavaScript errors, and AJAX response time. And you can alert off of all of these metrics as well. So you can get notified whenever you have a spike in page load time, whenever your AppDex score dips, whenever your AJAX response time is suboptimal, or whenever your page views are experiencing a higher than expected level of JavaScript errors. So let's jump in and take a look at how you can slice and dice the browser level visibility. So we can see here, based on our throughput, that most of our users are coming from Chrome, and we can see all of the browser types and versions that people are using. And we can also determine what browsers have the worst average page load time. We can also go into filterable geography and see what our performance looks like around the globe. And we can do this and basically slice and dice this global heat map based on a number of different data points and attributes. So if we want to see the average page load time for particular URLs across the globe, we can easily do that. So right now we're looking at the average page load time for this particular URL, how to improve transaction traces, and we can see basically that the users are coming from Costa Rica, United States, India, Australia, Italy, and Denmark, with Costa Rica having the worst performance on this URL. Perhaps we also want to slice and dice the filterable geography and look at it by networking time and see where there's a slowdown. So we can see in India has a slower than normal, slower than to be expected network time at around 1700 milliseconds and an average page load time of around 11 seconds. From there, let's go into JavaScript errors. In the last 24 hours, we can see the selection of JavaScript errors that users have encountered. And we can see that we have 4 instances of errors without a stack trace. Those are coming from Chrome and Firefox browsers. And you can see some of the URLs that were where those originated from. We also have cannot read property execute of undefined. And you can see the stack trace here and some additional attributes about this error. So you may perform additional actions on the JavaScript errors. You may determine that you want to look at this URL and run a synthetic script against it to determine the presence of the JavaScript errors in a controlled environment. But we do give you the JavaScript errors that people are encountering on your site in the actual environment. From there, let's go into page views, and we can see the performance broken out by groups of URLs. And we can sort this by the percent of total page load time, or the average page load time, or throughput. And I'm going to click into the synthetic script URL here on our community, as the first two are actually groups of URL, where this is a particular specific URL. So I'm kind of interested in it, in that it takes 9 to 10% of the overall page load time over the last 24 hours. And I can see my page view breakdown and throughput. And then we've collected actually a pretty large selection of session traces on this URL as well that we'll take a look at. From here, I can also see the performance of any underlying AJAX calls that are contributing to powering this URL. And I can also quickly link into the APM transaction, giving you that single pane of glass and the end-to-end visibility that New Relic provides. From here, we can go into session traces, and there's really no session, these are all within the expected page load time. So let's dive into session traces and see if we can find one that has a little bit slower page load time. And we can see here's one with the synthetic script page where the user was on Mac Chrome 50 and had a 35-second page load time, so suboptimal experience. And with session traces, we're giving you all of the details within that user's session, from everything with the page load, time spent in backend, time spent in DOM processing, and then here's where it's really the slowdown is 35 seconds to the page load. The user was actually able to interact with this page within 4.6 seconds, but the page didn't finish loading until 35 seconds in. And then this user's total session was 157 seconds. So we can follow this and see what was holding up the actual page load. We can see some assets here, some JavaScript that took a second or so to load. Here's our slow JavaScript execution that was blocking for half a second. Some additional assets and images that took between 1.5 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So we may want to run a synthetic script against this URL to see if we can simulate this in a controlled environment. So let's go ahead and do that. So in synthetics, I built out a monitor looking at that URL. And that's just you can see that here, my monitor URL, and I named my monitor. I'm running it every 5 minutes, and I'm running it from Portland and Dublin. So if we look at the overview, we can see that the overall average page load time is within that 3 to 4 second mark. I'm not seeing any outliers there. And my slowest result in the last 12 hours was still under 5 seconds. So I can pretty much determine that there's nothing wrong with that page, but we can take a look and see what was being loaded on that page, and still what assets are taking the longest time and contributing to that 5-second page load. So right now you can sort it by timeline or duration. We'll look at duration and look at the slowest assets, and we can see some JavaScript that is being served up from our CDN, and it took over a second to load that. You can see the time spent in blocking, waiting, the time spent to receive it, and the time to first byte. There's also additional attributes here as you tab through the additional overview, response, and request data sets. And then you could actually view the resource or go into Insights to view this record as part of the monitor. So let's actually take a look at all of our JavaScript. So I just sorted this, so only show the JavaScript. We can see also we had some additional JavaScript that took about 600 milliseconds, but no errors on any of the JavaScript that we're loading, which is great. And then let's take a look at some of our images. So here's a logo that took 400 milliseconds to load. So you can go through and analyze all of this data, and then also take a look at the resources. We can see the slowest resources from across all the monitors, the average load time, and the 200 response codes, so 100% okay. Okay, and then quickly, as the synthetic monitors also allow you to, each monitor has an SLA report that you can quickly see the performance of the given URL or the given workflow in a scripted browser monitor environment on a daily, weekly, and monthly report that you can easily download and export to a CSV if you want to send to additional internal or external stakeholders. So finally, we tie all this together with Insights, our software analytics layer. And we're in Insights in the Data Explorer. This allows you to quickly query your data, and the events, all the events that we store are contained in this dropdown. We're going to look at the page view events, which are all the data collected from our browser monitoring. And let's build out a query and look at all the page view events since 1 day ago. And we're going to plot it. Right here, we're plotting it by the number of page view events, so we can see our average compared to our daily average compared to 1 week ago at the same time. But let's look at the average DOM processing time. So we can see our average DOM processing time again compared to 1 week ago. But instead of our average, maybe we want to look at our 95th percentile. So what is the top 5% of the worst performing DOM processing? And you can see that it's around 6 to 7 seconds, the worst 5%. And let's take a look at what URLs are having the worst DOM processing duration. And actually, let's run this query and modify it a bit. Let's remove the time series and add a where clause. So we're focusing on just the forum application that we were just looking at. So now we're looking at all of the URLs that have the worst 95th percentile DOM processing duration, and we can append this data. Maybe we want to add a count of the page views and look at the average total duration. We can easily modify our query to add that to the data set. Okay. Now we can, from here, name the query and save it to a dashboard. I've already gone ahead and done that and added this to a data app. A data app is a collection of dashboards. So you can see here I have a data app called Front End Experience that has the dashboards looking at different engagement metrics, performance metrics, active sessions, so who's on my site right now and what's their performance like, the browser usage, and then our synthetic web content looking at the third-party content that's served up through those synthetic monitors that we created. So looking at our engagement report, we're looking at the forum application. And we can scroll down and see our unique sessions, our page views, daily and weekly page views. And then here's our synthetic script URL that we were investigating before. So I can then filter this whole report just by that URL. So let's go into performance and let's sort on our forum app again. And let's scroll down and let's look at the average page load time, still under 5 seconds. The DOM processing average is still under 3. You can see our slowest pages greater than 7 seconds. And then also our 90th percentile URLs that are experiencing the worst DOM processing duration, kind of based on the query we already looked at. And then here's our synthetic scripts URL again. So again, we can sort this entire dashboard by that particular URL. And so now we can see how many page views that URL has, what the performance looks like for that particular page. We also can see where the users are all coming from, what countries and operating systems and devices. And you can also append this data. I mentioned earlier, you can add custom attributes. So think of email addresses, company or customer name, and potentially also e-commerce type of activities. You can append to this data to get further insights. So I can also see who's on my site right now, looking at my active sessions report. So 14 active sessions going on right now, and they're all accessing these URLs. And I can see actually a suboptimal experience right now with an internal only page where there's average duration of around 14 seconds. So I would want to look into that a little bit further. I can also see my browser usage. So what browsers are people using by page view, by browser type and version. And then here's an interesting heat map histogram that shows me the distribution of the performance by browser type. And then finally, let's look at synthetic web content performance. This is based on the monitor that I created earlier and showed you earlier. And with this dashboard, I can look very quickly and see the performance by my third-party providers, all the domains that are serving up content on my page, by content type, and by the content category, and the performance by domain. So with that, wanted to wrap up and just thank everybody for their time. Just wanted to recap what we talked about. And that's that browser synthetics and insights really makes it easy for your digital business to monitor and optimize your front-end performance and the digital customer experience using real user data within browser, controlled tests within synthetics, and then tying it all together with advanced analytics within insights. Further, browser and insights enables your business to extend the out-of-box performance to show additional custom attributes, feature adoption, user activities, e-commerce, and other business outcomes. And finally, browser synthetics and insights really does introduce New Relic to a whole new set of users and stakeholders within your organization. So it's not just a developer's tool, it's also for product management, QA, data analysts, marketing, and customer success. We'd love to show you more, so please reach out, contact your account executive today, and we'll turn on a pro trial of browser synthetics and insights. From there, we'll do a customized demo looking at your data and help you understand your data. So please reach out to your account executive today, or reach out to us at newrelic.com/about/contact us. Thanks again for your time.